President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking approval to borrow a fresh $516,333,070 loan. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, the U.S. Department of Justice has officially reclassified how it views cannabis, a step marking a historic shift in the country's drug policy. The move changes cannabis, also known as marijuana, from a Schedule 1 narcotic to a Schedule 3 drug, placing it in the same category as Tylenol with codeine. President Donald Trump signed an executive order last year directing his administration to begin the reclassification process in order to increase access and research of the drug. Marijuana remains illegal at the federal level. Despite the federal ban, most U.S. states have legalized the medical or recreational use of marijuana, and many have shops where it can be purchased legally. At number 9, President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has said the country's football governing body is planning to hold a CAF A license course soon, as well as a CAF B license course for women coaches next year. The Punch reports. Gusau made this known on Monday while receiving the Director General of the National Institute for Sport, Philip Shaibu. Shaibu visited the NFF Secretariat to seek collaboration on the Commission's 2-year plan to bridge a 2 million coaching gap in Nigerian sports. At number 8, suspects linked to the deadly Anguwan Rukuba attack that left scores dead have been brought before the Plateau State High Court for arraignment, marking a significant step in the search for justice over one of the most tragic incidents in recent times in the state. The accused persons, arrested by operatives of the Department of State Services, were presented before Justice Gidelia Fomyong and Justice Jacob Longden in Court 12 and 9 of the Plateau State High Court amid heightened public interest and grief from affected communities. The Plateau State government formally charged the suspect in connection with the killings, which occurred during a period of heightened tension and have since drawn widespread condemnation. 2 persons have sustained gunshot injuries during a failed kidnap attempt at the Old Kara area, Bodija, in Ibadan local government area of Oyo State. The State Police Public Relations Officer Olayinka Ayanlade said in a statement in Ibadan, the state's capital, on Thursday, that the incident occurred on April 21st, 2026 at about 7:50 p.m. He explained that the swift response of security operatives aided by local hunters prevented the armed assailants from executing what authorities believe was a planned abduction. Ayanlade said the police received a distress call from a concerned resident reporting that about 4 armed hoodlums had stormed a point of sale shop in the area and opened fire. At number 6, a Kaduna State High Court has refused the bail application filed by former Governor Nasir El-Rufai, holding that the seriousness of the allegations against him and the concerns over interference with investigations outweigh the grounds advanced for his release. El-Rufai had approached the court via a motion dated 25th March 2026, seeking bail either on self-recognizance or upon such liberal terms as the court may deem fit. His application, brought under Section 35 and 36 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and provisions of the Kaduna State ACJL 2017, argued that the offenses were not capital in nature and therefore carried a presumption in favor of bail. At number 5, health authorities in Cross River have debunked claims of 10 new cases of COVID-19, affirming that only 1 person has been diagnosed with the disease in the state. The Cross River State Commissioner of Health, Henry Ayuk, made the clarification on Thursday during an interview on Channels Television's The Morning Brief. Ayuk said the misinformation likely arose from reports that 10 contacts had been identified, which may have been interpreted as confirmed cases by the media. His comments came after a fresh case of COVID-19 was confirmed in Cross River State after years of the pandemic that has led to the death of millions worldwide. At number 4, in a significant step towards women's empowerment in Kebbi State, hundreds of women have graduated from various skills acquisition programs in Jega and Aliero towns, organized by the Kebbi State First Ladies Foundation, the Nasara Foundation. The beneficiaries were drawn from Jega and Aliero local government areas. Speaking at the graduation ceremony held in Aliero, the First Lady of Kebbi State, Zainab Nasare Nasir Idris, who was represented by the Chief Executive Officer of the Nasara Foundation, Balkisu Nasser, stressed the importance of collaboration collective action in driving social change. At number 3, the Senate has asked the nation's security leadership, including the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, and the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, to intensify coordinated operations to apprehend those responsible for a fresh wave of killings in Benue State. The upper chamber also urged the federal government to immediately deploy additional military and paramilitary personnel to the Apa local government area and other affected parts of the state to restore law and order. The resolutions followed a motion sponsored by Senate Minority Leader Abba Moro, who raised alarm over what he described as the gruesome killings of several residents in Angpali Ediku Apa local government area on April 12, 2026. The attacks were allegedly carried out by suspected armed headsmen. At number 2, the troops of the Northeast Joint Task Force, Operation Hadinkai, have successfully repelled a coordinated attack on the Kukareta community in the Damaturu local government area of Yobe State, killing 24 terrorists and recovering 18 AK-47 rifles, among other equipment. In a statement made available to Channels Television by the Media Information Officer at the Theatre Command, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, the incident happened in the last hours of Wednesday, April 23, 2026. According to him, the expectation operations are ongoing to recover additional bodies and equipment along the terrorist withdrawal route, littered with blood trails and medical consumables. At number 1, President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking approval to borrow a fresh $516,333,070 loan. In a letter to the President of the Senate, Senator Govt Akpabio, which was read on Thursday during plenary, the loan will be obtained from Deutsche Bank and is aimed at financing the already approved borrowing plan for its Sokoto Badagry 1000 superhighway. President Tinubu in the letter is asking for an expeditious passage. Akpabio referred the letter to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debt for legislative action and a report back in 1 week. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.